All right, let's dive into a book that, honestly, has changed millions of lives, The Four Agreements, by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's based on ancient Toltec wisdom, and it gives us this incredibly powerful yet simple code of conduct for finding real personal freedom and happiness. So let's get into it. The book kicks off with this really massive question. Think about it. The Toltec tradition says that everything you see, everything you feel right now, it's all a dream. And not just the dreams you have when you're asleep. Your waking life is a dream too. It's what Ruiz calls a collective dream, one that's created by society, and it's a dream you were basically born into without ever getting a choice in the matter. Ruiz has a name for this collective dream. He calls it the dream of the planet. It's basically the sum of all of society's rules, its beliefs, its laws, its religions, the whole shebang. It was all here long before any of us were, and we were taught from day one how to dream according to its rules. So how exactly did we learn to dream this way? Well, Ruiz uses a pretty striking word for it: domestication. Just like we train a puppy with treats when it's good and scolding when it's not, we were trained as kids. We got rewarded when we did what our parents or teachers wanted, and we got punished when we stepped out of line. This taught us to constantly chase rewards and run from punishment, which led us to create this false image of ourselves, to pretend to be someone we're not, just to please everyone and feel good enough. And this whole domestication process, it basically starts a war inside our own heads. We end up with these two voices that are always battling it out. First, you've got the judge. This is the part of you that has memorized the entire rule book, the book of law, and it finds you guilty for every tiny mistake you make. And then there's the victim. That's the part of us that takes the beating, accepts the judgment, and carries all the blame and shame, always whispering, "Poor me, I'm just not good enough." It's this exhausting cycle that just runs on autopilot. Okay, and this leads to a claim in the book that is just staggering. Ruiz says that 95% of the beliefs we hold, all those rules in our personal book of law, are actually lies. Just straight up lies. And it's our belief in these lies that is the real root of all our personal suffering. So, when you put it all together, the judge, the victim, and a rule book filled with lies, what you get? Well, the result is that we end up creating our own personal hell. It's a dream, but it's a dream filled with fear, constant self-judgment, and emotional pain. We literally become our own worst enemy. But, and this is the really good news, we don't have to stay stuck in that dream. We can wake up. The book gives us a super practical way out, a set of tools to break all those old, fear-based agreements that just suck away our energy and our power. And these tools are the Four Agreements. And here they are. They look simple, right? Almost too simple. But don't let that fool you. Their power is absolutely profound. Think of them as a new code of conduct, one that's designed to completely transform our lives by replacing all those old agreements that have kept us trapped. Let's take a look at each one. So the first agreement is called the most important one because really, it's the foundation for everything else. Be impeccable with your word. Now, the word impeccable literally means without sin. But a sin in this way of thinking is just anything you do that goes against yourself. So being impeccable with your word means you stop using your own words to judge yourself or to gossip about other people. The book talks about our words as being a form of pure magic, a force for creation. So when we gossip or use our words to hurt someone, we're basically practicing black magic. Think about gossip for a second. It's like a computer virus for the human mind, spreading emotional poison. But when we use our words to spread love and speak our truth, that's white magic. It has the power to heal and to create a truly beautiful reality for ourselves and others. The next two agreements build right on top of that foundation. First, don't take anything personally. This one is a game changer. It makes you immune to all that emotional poison because you finally understand that what other people say and do, it's about them. It's a reflection of their dream, not yours. And second, don't make assumptions. This one saves you from so much self-inflicted drama. It's about finding the courage to actually ask questions and communicate clearly instead of just making up stories in your head and believing them as truth. Okay, so now we have 3 incredibly powerful new agreements. But how do we make them stick? How do we turn them into actual habits? Well, that is where the 4th one comes in. It's like the engine that makes all the others work. The 4th agreement is always do your best.
And this is so brilliant because it gets at a really key idea. Your best isn't some fixed standard. It changes. Your best when you're feeling sick is totally different from your best when you're healthy. Your best in the morning isn't the same as your best at night. The point isn't to be perfect. It's just to do what you can, right in that moment. No more, no less.
And just look at what happens when you live this way. When you simply do your best, you give that inner judge zero ammunition. It can't beat you up for falling short if you know you gave it everything you had in that moment. Suddenly, action isn't a chore you do to get a reward. It becomes a joyful act of living. This one agreement completely sets you free from that cycle of self-abuse. So what's the end game here? What happens when you really start to live by these 4 new agreements? Well, you begin to consciously, intentionally create a new dream for yourself. You literally take back the pen and you start writing your own story.
This is the ultimate promise of the book. By practicing these agreements over and over, you literally transform that internal dream of hell, the one filled with fear and judgment and suffering, into your own personal dream of heaven, a dream filled with love and joy and total freedom.
You know, in the end, we're all the artists of our own lives. Your life is the canvas, and the 4 agreements, they're the tools, the brushes that let us stop painting a nightmare and finally start creating a masterpiece.
So if you are the one holding the brush, that means everything you experience is your creation. You have the power, right now, in this very moment, to change your agreements and completely change your reality. So the only question left to ask is, what dream will you choose to live?